Hello, I'm Rachel Stravelli, and today I'm talking about boundaries. I want to go ahead and ask you to give this video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button below so you can make sure to stay connected and get all the great videos that I put out. Feel free to share with a friend too. And before I get into boundaries, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a mom of two, a homesteader, and an extreme strawberry grower. I'm also a writer and a coach and a speaker. And today I'm going to be speaking on the topic of boundaries because I think when we talk about self-care or personal development and anything in that realm, self-growth, whatever, spiritual development, it's really important to think about boundaries. And a lot of us were not taught a single thing or very little growing up about boundaries. And so for most of us, we've had to learn as adults. And if you are a people pleaser, there's a chance you never learned much about boundaries. And so it's such a important thing to work on. And I'm even going to share a story today. Like, I thought I had achieved so much and I knew so much about boundaries, but there's always more to learn and more ways that we can grow. So I work with intelligent, creative, passionate people who want to make impact in the world, tap into their intuition, manage their energy, and expand your joy. And if you want to do any of those things, knowing what your boundaries are and maintaining those is really essential. And if you also want to practice self-care, boundaries are really important. And I mean both boundaries in your personal life with relationships that you have with other people, and also the boundaries that you create with your time and your schedule and how you plan your day. I think of a time a couple years ago, there was a person in my life who she'd been in my life for many years, and we had a pretty good relationship, but I had never set any boundaries with this person. And this person really likes to gossip and talk about others, and I would just ignore it and not participate. But the problem is I get very easily influenced, and I'm very impressionable about the opinions of others. And I know this about myself. So a couple years ago, I decided I'm going to set up a boundary with this person. I'm going to let her know that I don't want to hear other people's gossip about myself. I don't want to hear gossip about these other people in our social circle from the past, and I just am no longer going to participate. And here's the part about boundaries that a lot of people don't like doing, and it makes them really uncomfortable. So I did get a little bit of backlash from this person, and she was angry for a while, several months to a year. And some of it was very explicit and obvious anger, and some of it was just that it changed our relationship. And in a lot of ways, we haven't been as close. This person doesn't express as much love and joy and happiness towards me as she used to. And so it made me realize when I set this boundary that one of the reasons I had been not doing anything about it was because I didn't want to deal with the backlash of her anger. I also didn't know, like, will this end the relationship? And I know you may have relationships in your life that you think, if I set a boundary and tell this person, no, you're no longer allowed to say this to me or do this to me, it could mean the end of the relationship. Sometimes for people in drastic circumstances, it means the end of your job. The whole Me Too movement, there have been a lot of people who felt like they couldn't put boundaries up about their body and their sexuality because that was one of the ways that things just were in the workplace that they were in. But I feel that more and more as a culture and as a consciousness of humanity, we're getting to the point where we realize we need to have boundaries. We need to communicate with others how they are allowed to treat us. Years ago, I also had a bully that was in my workplace, and I didn't set boundaries early on with her because I just was of the mindset and the belief, if I'm a nice person, everything will work out okay. This was in my early 20s, and it did not really work out okay. And we did multiple mediations, and it was incredibly challenging and incredibly difficult. But it taught me from then on, I will hold boundaries with people. I will not let people at work disrespect me, treat me poorly. And it's okay if they think, oh, she's not nice, or Rachel's really mean, or these are the things she says. You know what? They can think whatever they want, because I have to protect myself and I have to maintain those boundaries. And this is also why when the thing came up a few years ago with the other person, I had already had this time in my 20s where I thought, I know how to set boundaries. But as we will find in our lives, as we move forward, we realize more and more things that, oh, maybe we're reaching a new level of awareness and a new way that we can have a boundary with people. And like I said, that person, it changed our relationship. And yet, now that I know that that person does not gossip with me, she doesn't tell me what other people think about me, I don't have to hear all these negative stories about other people, it feels so more relaxing and comforting, and I have less anxiety around this person because I don't have to prepare myself for what am I going to say when she says such and such about so-and-so? How am I going to respond? How can I maintain my integrity of being true to this person but true to this other person too? And so that person was, I felt, putting me in a compromising position. But ever since I laid the line and said, we're not going to talk about this anymore, I'm not going to hear about it, that's been the way that it is. And there were a few times after I first said that where she would bring something up and I would change the conversation, or if we were talking on the phone, I'd say, I gotta go. You know, if we were in person, I'd wrap it up quickly. And so it took a couple times of doing that. So if you are learning how to set boundaries in your life, I just want to really encourage you and say, look, just because the first time it doesn't like stick with this person doesn't mean it's not going to stick. Sometimes you have to reinforce with this person a couple times, like, oh, this is the new habit now. Like, yes, I said this thing to you and I'm going to back it up. Because some people are going to test you. They might think, oh, well, she said that, but is she really going to stop when I start gossiping? Is she really going to redirect the conversation, or is she going to get right back in there with me? And so with certain people, there's definitely going to be a period of time in which you have to reinforce and continuously, at least for a little while, show them this is how the new boundary is. The other thing is, it's probably going to be uncomfortable if you've been a people pleaser your whole life, or even part of your life. Doing this is going to feel strange, and you might even feel like you're not being true to who you are. I consider myself an amazing, loving person. Yeah, I have a high opinion of myself. No, but seriously, I consider myself to be so kind and so loving. But I also believe that kind and loving means that I honor myself and I care for myself, meaning I don't let people walk all over my boundaries. The other thing that I want you to think about is boundaries in your life and in how you schedule things and how you set up your time. And this is I should probably make a whole nother video about it, but briefly I'll just say, it's really important to have margins of time, or white space you could call it, so that you're not so packed full in your schedule that you're rushing from thing to thing to thing. Because if you're letting everything into your life and saying yes to everything, then you're not ensuring that you have the time to rest and shift gears and change from one activity to the next. You're also not giving yourself the chance to truly put most of your energy into the things that you value. And I know it's hard. Like, I'm really passionate about nonprofits and supporting a lot of different environmental causes, social justice causes, organic agriculture, the list goes on, and yet I could be supporting like hundreds of these a day with my money, with my time, and that would be great, but I would have no time left for myself. And if you have a lot of passions or you believe in a lot of things, sometimes it's really wonderful just to pick a few. Like this year I chose 5 charities And those are the 5 charities I'm donating the bulk of my money that I donate for the whole course of the year. And there's some local and some national and some environmental and some social justice, because those are the causes I support a lot. And that's what I do. And this year, that's only where my focus is going. And that way I don't even have to think about, oh, do I support this? Or what about this thing that came in the mail? And if I feel like it and I have the time, sure, I'll donate $5 to something. But in terms of, I donate money for my business, 20%. And so that money is already earmarked for those charities. I don't have to think about it. I've already set that boundary in place, and that's what I'm doing. All right. If you liked this video, give this a thumbs up and tell me in the comments below, what are some of the ways that you keep boundaries in your life? I know this is a big topic. I could cover more, but maybe I'll make another video about creating boundaries and structure in your schedule so that you have time to make more of an impact. All right, have a great day. This is Rachel, and I'll see you later. Bye.